Hello and welcome everybody. There are 12 commendations in the Division 2 that are attached to the Dark Hours raid. And as I'm currently going through all of my raid content and refreshing it on the channel, I thought I'd do a video today covering all 12 of these commendations. So we're going to go through each of these now and show you how to get them. Each commendation that you unlock will reward you with a patch like you can see here on screen. And 4 of these commendations you'll get for Dark Hours naturally just by completing it for the first time. This includes this Max Boomer Bailey Award here, which is awarded to you once you've completed the first boss encounter, Boomer. Then there's this Oliver Weasel Gordon Award, which is for the second boss encounter, Weasel. You have the Lucy and Buddy Award, which is for the third boss encounter, Lucy and Buddy. And you have this DDP52 Razorback Award, which is for the final boss encounter against Razorback. There is no commendation for completing the raid. For the first time, there is a trophy or an achievement that you'll get. And there's this Dark Hours Merit as well, which you might think is for completing the raid for the first time, but it's not. The requirement for the Dark Hours Merit is on story difficulty, complete the Dark Hours raid. Now, I don't have this on PC. I have done it on PlayStation though. And what this means is if you come to the chopper to start a Dark Hours raid, if we go and try and set one up, there's 2 different difficulty settings. You've got raid difficulty normal, which is a normal Dark Hours raid, and then you've got discovery. Discovery alters the mechanics to make it a little bit easier for you. You can matchmake on this as well, and it's a way of kind of like testing yourselves to see if you can get ready for the normal version. Now on discovery you can't get the raid exotics or anything like that, but you will get this commendation, the Dark Hours Merit, for completing the discovery version. Although there's no commendation for completing the normal version for the first time, there is this one here, the Extreme Service Distinction. This one will be rewarded to you once you complete the Dark Hours raid 5 times from start to finish, and this does have to be on normal difficulty. Moving on now to what probably is the most difficult commendation for the Dark Hours raid. It's the Extreme Operations Distinction. For this one, you've got to complete the Dark Hours raid without any agent being killed. So you and your squad have got to stay alive from start to finish. Going down on your knees is okay. If you go down to your knees where you can crawl about and you get picked back up, not a problem. But if anybody goes into a killed state where the name flashes up on screen and says that agent is killed, that's classed as going unconscious. That will void this commendation and you've got to go again. So you have to wipe the raid, reset it, set it back up and go again for a chance to get this. Only once you and your whole squad have completed the raid without anybody getting killed will you get it. There is a little bit of a myth about this, and I just want to debunk this right now. We've tested it hundreds of times. With disconnections on the raid, they can happen quite regular. If somebody gets disconnected, as long as they come back in and their name never leaves the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, then everything's okay. Even for that person, they'll still get this commendation. Some people think that that is an instant void to the commendation and nobody will get it. That is incorrect. You can still go ahead and get this commendation for the remaining people in the raid, even if that person doesn't come back in that got disconnected, or if they do get back in time for them as well. There are just 5 commendations left now for the Dark Hours raid, and these require a little bit more explanation and work as well to get them. We'll start with this Blueberry the Bear Merit. Now this is rewarded for finding and destroying every blueberry bear during a single run through the Dark Hours raid on any difficulty. So this means you can do this on discovery mode or normal mode. And what you're looking for are these tiny blue bears. There's 40 of them scattered throughout Dark Hours. And you've got to do it on a complete run as well. You can't just like start Dark Hours up and run through the raid and shoot all of these. It's got to be active. You've got to be performing the mechanics. Some of these bears are locked behind like doors and stuff that you can't open without performing the mechanics. So you will need to get a team together to go and complete this raid. And as you're doing it, shoot all 40 bears as you are going. Sometimes when you go too far, you can't go back. So if you do miss a bear, then you're going to have to restart the raid and go again by exiting the raid, resetting it back up and going again to refresh all the spawn points. But once you shot all 40 of these, you will get the commendation as soon as the 40th one is shot. I'm not going to cover all 40 of these in this video because I've done a separate video for this that covers all 40 if you want to learn them. That'll be linked down below in the video description. And the final 4 commendations are attached to each boss encounter. It's mechanics that you need to perform in order to get them. So we're going to start with the Boomer boss encounter and the Rapid Response Merit. For this, you've got to defeat Max Boomer Bailey in the Dark Hours raid without any agent using the same mounted weapon more than once. And this does have to be on normal difficulty. You can't do it on Discovery. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a full Boomer encounter where me and my squad complete the mechanics needed for this commendation. Now, I advise that you and your squad are familiar with this boss encounter before you try this. If you're not familiar, I definitely get familiar with it. I get confident with this encounter because this makes it harder. So there's no point going for this until you're comfortable with the encounter anyway. And I also recommend that you and your squad learn the Boomer double down technique. If you can do the Boomer double down, it's going to make this commendation so much easier. So we'll discuss that as we go. So what you want to take note of is we've got 2 guns in this boss encounter. We've got this one here, a 41 that I've just interacted with. There's one in the opposite corner of the room, 45. And most teams will have 2 kiters and a healer that move Boomer around the room during this boss battle. And it's the 2 kiters that want to take position on these guns from the get-go. So I am on 41. The other kiter is on 45. We're now spawning in Boomer and we're starting it. Now, this commendation requires us to defeat this boss encounter while we only use the gun once. And what that means is that the agent won. So now I've used this gun, 41, I don't use it again. I could go and use 45, but once I've used 41 and 45 the first time, I can't use them again. So I don't remove myself from this gun because we know we're going to be rotating Boomer around here to do a damage phase after the first damage phase. So I'm just going to stay on this gun from the start of the fight and wait for him. And it's the same with the other kiter on 45. As soon as they interact with 45, they're going to stay on that gun and wait until they've done the Boomer damage phase before they get off it, because once they've got off it, they can't go back on 45. Once I get off this, I can't go back on 41. If you understand that, I hope. So they're just doing a damage phase on Boomer now. They're going to try and do a double down because the more double downs you can do, the quicker you get this encounter done, which means you shouldn't really need to rotate with anybody else that's on ad control or anything like that. It's when you start rotating with people on ad control that this can get really difficult and wipes can happen. So they've just done the first damage phase. Now the kiter on 45 will come off of 45 and make their way over to here with the eye so that I can do damage on 41. I'm going to bring Boomer down to his knees. We're going to do damage to him and we'll try and get the double down here. You'll see that we're not successful on the double down. I think that's 2 that we're not successful on now, and I've come off the gun. He got me off the gun. Now I can't go back on 41, as we've already stated. But what I can do is use 45. So I'm rotating around to 45 now. We're going to make sure I haven't got the eye, so I can go straight on 45. And now this is my second gun. I've interacted with 41, and now I've interacted with 45. I'm not able to interact with another gun now, and that's what you need to manage. So we're going to do another damage phase on Boomer. This time we are going to get the double down. You can see why this is so important. We're doing some damage to Boomer here, and because we get the double down and we're successful with that, we're able to do more damage and finish this encounter quick. You just took me off the gun there, but we've got 2 damage phases in one with a double down. The more double downs you get, the quicker this is done, the easier it is done. Now, the person that started on 45 to begin with, they're now going to take 41. And as the 2 kiters, we have now spent all of our interactions on the guns. So we need to communicate at this point because this damage phase isn't going to finish the encounter off. You can see Boomer's armor here. He's still got some armor that we need to take off him. We're going to need to do some more rotations to finish this boss encounter. So at this point, once your kiters have used both of the guns, you need to discuss with your team who's going to jump on the gun now. Now, we in our strategy have someone that floats, which is Milkman. So as a floater, he is free to go and take that gun. Everybody else is still on crowd control, and it's worked out nicely for us. He's brought Boomer down. We've got the damage phase in, and luckily enough, we do get the double down again, and we're able to finish the encounter here with the double down. And we did it where no agent interacted with any of the guns more than once, and that's all that's required for this commendation. So it can be tricky, but the more experience you have and with good communication skills and just managing who interacts with the guns, you can get this done. If you can do the rapid response merit on Boomer, then the rest of these boss commendations are going to be so much easier. That is definitely by far the most difficult, I think, because it just requires so much coordination. We're going to move on to the Weasel commendation now, which is target prioritization merit. For this one, you've got to defeat Oliver Weasel Gordon in the Dark Hours raid while at least one of his security detail is still alive. And this has to be on normal difficulty. You cannot do it on discovery. This commendation can be very easy if you know the 7 and 1 method for this boss encounter. You have 7 people on Bravo side, you have 1 person on Alpha side, and what you want to do is with the person on Alpha side, you can see Lady Rock is that person in this clip here. They're going to have like a tank build that's very good against elites. They got protection from elites from it. They're practically invincible against elites. And what they're going to do with the shield is they're going to kite their boss that spawns in their area and take them into a corner for us so we can deal with the other bosses. Because what this encounter wants you to do, or what this commendation wants you to do, is to spawn Weasel by killing one of the first 2 bosses to jump in, but then kill Weasel before you kill the other boss. That's what we're going to do now. We're going to start this encounter off. Ricochet's going to jump out of this window while Dizzy jumps out of the other window where Lady Rock is. We're going to perform the mechanics here to get the plane up and make Weasel spawn in, and Weasel will spawn in when one of the bosses die. So we kill Ricochet first. Now once the plane is going up and Weasel's spawning in, what Lady Rock is doing with her tank build, she's using the mosquito on that to get Dizzy's aggro, and she's taking Dizzy over into the left corner over there in our half of the room, so in the Bravo half of the room, so we can kill him later. But we don't want to kill Dizzy just yet. We're going to let Lady Rock kite Dizzy into that corner, and as soon as we can see Weasel from this position, we're going to switch to Weasel and we're going to kill Weasel first. And that's all the commendation wants you to do. They just want you to kill Weasel while another boss is still alive. You can do this in any order, like it doesn't matter whether it's Dizzy or Ricochet that's still alive, as long as one of them is still alive and Weasel dies. Once you kill the other boss, you'll get the commendation. Evasive Maneuvers Merit is next, and this is the one for Lucy and Buddy. You must defeat Lucy and Buddy in the Dark Hours raid without any agent taking damage from one of Buddy's Seeker Mines on normal difficulty. So again, this cannot be done on discovery. It doesn't matter too much what strategy your team uses to do Buddy and Lucy. You can pretty much get this commendation done with any strategy. We are using the one where we send 2 people onto Lucy's side on the servers, and we have the healer kite Lucy into that room so they can do damage to her, and then everybody else is in the opposite corner of the room ready for Buddy, and we have someone kite Buddy into that corner to do damage to Buddy. As long as you've got an oxidizer on a 6 skill tier build and they're focusing Buddy, you can get this done. And I'm currently that person. I'm on Buddy's side. I normally wear DPS, but for the commendation, I'm switching to a 6 skill tier healer build with an oxidizer chem launcher on. And what you want to do to get the commendation is have a person do what I'm doing here. I'm constantly watching Buddy, and when he goes to his knees, just like he did there, I'm firing an oxidizer. That oxidizer will destroy any Seeker Mines that Buddy lets off, and he only lets them off when he goes down to his knees. So this person is just going to be watching Buddy the whole time. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do no damage or anything like that. My job is just to watch Buddy, and when he goes down to his knees, I've got to manage the Seeker Mines. So he's gone down to his knees again. I fired that oxidizer. When he spawns those Seeker Mines, they're getting destroyed. And it's as easy as that, really. Obviously, you want to be experienced at this encounter so your team knows what they're doing with the health bars. The more efficient this encounter is, the easier it is, the less he'll go down to his knees. And when he does go down to his knees as well, you want people to try and stay away from him. He's about to go down to his knees again now. You'll see that he goes down. I fire the oxidizer. We have a few people quite close to him there, but not close enough to take a hit before they're destroyed. So just bear that in mind. If you're too close to Buddy as he spawns the balls or the Seeker Mines, they will go off and do damage to you, and it'll be void. And if you do void this commendation because a Seeker Mine hits you, it is a case of just wiping and going again. You don't need to restart the raid unless you finish the encounter and find out someone got hit. But that's as easy as that commendation gets. Just get a 6 skill tier build with an oxidizer. Whenever he goes down to his knees, fire that oxidizer and destroy those balls. And finally, the last commendation on Dark Hours is called the Blitzkrieg Merit. For this one, you must defeat DDP-52 Razorback in the Dark Hours raid before it deploys its tower for the 9th time. Again, on normal difficulty, this cannot be done on discovery. Now, I'm going to be absolutely honest with you with this one. It is probably the easiest one, and you'll get this on your very first Dark Hours completion, because part of the Razorback mechanics is that you do damage to Razorback when the tower stands up, and you've just got to defeat this encounter before that tower stands up 9 times. Well, in like today's world on the Division 2 with all the power we have, it's quite hard to do it in like more than 4 times, if I'm being honest with you. But I guess for a brand new team practicing, it might take you anywhere between 4 and 8, but I don't think I've ever done it myself beyond that. So the fact that it gives you 9 times at this tower that can stand up to get this commendation, it's very, very easy. And that's what it means by the tower standing up. You get to this point here where the teams have got to shoot the weak spots to do Razorback damage. Once the weak spots are destroyed, you get to do some damage to Razorback, and yeah, as long as you can do that without that tower standing up 9 times, you get the commendation. I think pretty much 99.9% of you will be doing that from your first completion onwards anyway. So a very easy commendation for Razorback, probably one you don't need to think about. And that's it for this video. That's all 12 commendations for the Dark Hours raid on the Division 2. As I mentioned at the start of the video, I am going through all of my raid content right now, which is why this video is going out today. And if you want to see any more of that raid content, it's linked down below in the video description. We've got guides for the whole raid and all sorts, so go and check that out. We've also got a brand new community that I've created, which is revolved around helping you guys get through raids and other content in the Division 2, but also training you guys up to become one of our team members to help with this sort of content as well. So if any of that interests you, make sure you come and join my new GCROCK server to get on board with that and see what Team GC is all about. But thank you for watching this. I hope it's been helpful. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more content, comment down below as well to help the algorithm. And until the next one, take care and peace out.